it's been nearly 18 years since Napoleon Dynamite came out. When you guys were shooting the film, did you ever think, fast forward 18 years, it would still be so popular today?
I didn't think I'd be alive. Are you kidding?
I don't think I don't know if we ever looked down this far down the road. I mean, I think you could probably say, like, 5, 8 years ago, we could probably, I don't know, you could probably say at that point, all right, you know what, I think whether or not we're doing these, screenings or these anniversary get-togethers, I think it's got legs now. It's got that longevity. I don't know if it will, sure, maybe as the generations go by, interests, like, I don't know, you think about cult classics from that are way before our time, and do they die down? But then they find new audiences. Rocky Horror Picture Show just still lives on and lives on, and people are still talking about it. So I don't know. I think we
lives on at midnight anyway.
Yeah. So if people just keep re-showing this movie to their kids, and then those kids keep showing it to their kids, and we could be doing this for the rest of our lives.
It does have and I mean, I think that all of us are. I'm surprised. I think that. I mean, when it made 15 years, it was like, wow, that was 15 years ago. And they had the thing. They had like the ceremony, I think, at Foxhide. I missed the whole thing. I was away.
You're talking about the when we unveiled the statue,
the tetherball thing. Yeah, I missed all that, but I know I was missed. Anyway, but
oh, I forgot you weren't even there.
Weren't you there? Wait a minute. Wait, right.
I know. I remember I was walking down Fox, and there was the tetherball thing, and I'm like, no, look at that. How did I miss this? But anyway, it's incredible. I mean, it is. It's just something that keeps. It's like a baton at a relay race. It just keeps getting handed down generations.
What do you guys think resonates with viewers so much?
Well, I gotta see it because the audience can relate to any one of the characters. As uniquely different that every single character is, they're still trying to find something about life. The core thing about this film is hope, because they're ambitious and they're driven. Look at the things that Napoleon character himself is like. He's known that he learns about skills. He learns that in a friendship and with teamwork, right? Great things can happen, and they do. You see?
I will like that.
Yeah. So, for like Peter's character, coming from a different world, entering Preston, Idaho, and not fitting in, he's unsure of not only himself, but what to do. But in that friendship that he has with Napoleon, and as he moves along the life of the world of Napoleon Dynamite, that friendship gives that positive reinforcement to be able to do things in such a way that seem outlandish, where he actually decides to run for president, and he wins. So there's there's a kind of a wonderful possibility, an endless possibility to people's dreams, which is very fascinating to every generation.
It's so true. And being that the universal theme is, the funny thing is that I would say, I think that like 95% of the audience relates to Napoleon, because I think that no matter how popular someone is in their school, or how like revered somebody might be, they have their self-doubt. They all kind of feel a little bit like, I think everybody has a little bit of an outcast side of them, they question their validity or whatever it is, that they wonder if they get along. I mean, everybody goes through that kind of insecurity, which is really kind of funny, because Napoleon absolutely is not insecure about it at all. And he's just like, damn the torpedoes. He goes through whatever, and will like, he will like, pervade in the face of laughter. He'll make it through, I think everybody kind of relates to that in a weird way. And there are these universal characters, as Efren's saying, that there's everything that anybody really can relate to. So it has a nostalgia, even if it's not directly attributable to your own experience in school. There's something about it that carries through. I think that's really,
You know what would be funny if that if somebody's watching this goes, no, the reason why I see it is because of the time machine.
And the llama. We love the llama.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do you guys think, I'm interested to know, in light of the pandemic and kids being out of school and having to get used to talking to kids again, do you think the movie has become even more relevant for kids who might feel fears of not fitting in?
Sure, why not?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, look, it's like these guys said, it certainly encaptures that whole feeling of awkwardness and being young and being socially awkward, and it grabs. I mean, that's a huge part of growing up, not just growing up, but even now. You're right. Certainly, COVID didn't help that situation, but we are surrounded by youth who have a hard time relating to other people or having social anxiety, or whether they are struggling with some kind of social problem. And you're right, for sure. I think it's even more relatable nowadays because there's at least that social anxiety. I think some
COVID
people,
also
I've
helped.
heed some people. What?
COVID didn't hurt our viewership, that's for sure.
No, it didn't hurt. And I think some people, the whole geek chic kind of vibe that this film kind of came out of the gate with, because it really is like, I feel like since the time that movie came out in the last 15, almost 20 years, geek fandom, geek chic has become a thing. And now it's like cool to be weird, cool to beat to your dance to the beat of your own drum, march, whatever, dance, I'll say dance. It's cool to kind of just own up to your own language and this whole world that you create in your own life, because that's what Napoleon does. And so yeah, I think that helps a lot.
And one of the recent stories I read, I think John Gries, you might have been the one to mention this story, was a woman who was ready to take her own life.
Yeah.
And after seeing Napoleon Dynamite, decided to seek help. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, and what all of your reactions were hearing that story?
I mean, I was speechless when she said it to me. I didn't even know how to speak. It was at a meet and greet that she came up and just told us that story, that a friend of hers called her out of the blue and she was ready to finish her life. And she decided to just go to the movie, and it was the first time she had laughed, and it gave her hope. And of course, I always think that actors and showbiz people sometimes feel like they're reinventing the wheel and they take it themselves a little too seriously. But after hearing something like that, I was like, well, you can't deny that there is a power to helping people laugh, or making people laugh, or being part of something that lightens somebody's day. We've met veterans who say that they watched every day while they were in Iraq. That's pretty powerful.
And Jon and Efren, when you hear stories like that too, did you ever think that acting would be able to do that for people who are really in need of that comedic support?
Well, I mean, there's an interview recently with Bryan Cranston. He talks about theater and the work, and he says that if the audience feels nothing, then you're not doing your job, right? But our job is to live these lives and see what happens, and find some kind of light, some kind of purpose. So and it makes the audience relatable to these characters, and go through that journey, and remind them that they're not alone, that we're all struggling, and that that together we could find something greater within ourselves. But stick with Jon Gries mentioned, it's like we go to these tours and we see teenagers who the oddballs, the awkward, who feel like, what? Yeah, I'm not alone. We see families who are together and they're like, yeah, this is a movie that families can sit together and not have to worry about editing their kids' ears, or if it seems too dark. No, there's something that's relatable about life, you know, and it's wonderful to see, from college students to parents to grandparents, because it touches everybody on such a level, and we're like, yeah, we're part of that. It's cool.
Viewers took away so much from watching each of these individual characters grow. And I'm curious, you actually playing one of the characters, what did you take away from that experience as well in your own life?
For playing the character, I mean, not to downplay, I mean, it really was just like, just doing me and my younger brothers. I mean, I pulled so much of that. It was freeing. It was just kind of part of like my MO. I felt like what I wanted to do when I got into the entertainment industry, whether it was going to be animation or filmmaking or writing or directing or acting, telling our stories, you know, and kind of bringing to light the stuff that I thought was cool and the stuff that I related to. And when I read the script, Jared Hess, who wrote and directed the movie, you know, I read the script, I was like, oh my gosh, we're on the exact same page. We're like, the lens through which you are seeing life and saw your childhood is the exact same way I did. I could just see. And so we just clicked so perfectly in terms of like understanding the character, understanding this world. So for me, it was just like, yeah, this feels great. It was liberating.
I got to give a shout out. That's another thing to Jon Heder, is that all the drawings that you see in the film were done by him.
Oh, wow.
He did all that work. So
thank you, Efren. Thank you.
Pretty good.
He's a real artist.
Like, yeah, it's he's got some skills, you know. So, but everybody else, like, you know, and that's one thing about working on an independent film, I must say, is that we're working with each other, because we all we have is each other. You see, even Pablo agrees.
Like,
right?
Yeah.
So I will say that being able to play this role and live through the character of Pedro, I wasn't so sure, but meeting John Gries and him telling me about like the work that he does, about really breaking down the work as artists, we go, okay, I was nervous, I was scared, because you're taking on a role, you're taking on a character role.
It was just a con job. I was just trying to tell you that
He's like, get out of here, kid, you bother.
I was drinking beer in my little motel bathroom. No.
So, but for all of us being able to, because we were staying at the same motel,
Plaza, baby, the Plaza Motel.
Plaza
The
Motel,
Plaza,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Preston,
and all we
Idaho.
had was each other. And so
It's more like the Plaza.
yeah. And every day we knew we were working, but we were also we all felt like there was a family sense, and that's what makes it work for all of us. Even to this day, when I see these guys, I'm like, all right, it's like we get back together real quick. Like the
Yeah, I feel like no time has passed since you all have seen each other. You know, for me, it was impossible to watch the movie without laughing nearly every second, especially the scene when Uncle Rico throws the steak right at Napoleon's face. I have to ask you, behind the scenes, what scenes were so difficult for you guys to get through without laughing?
Oh, John.
Rex Kwon scene. That was my hardest. It was just too funny. I mean, you're right. I guess when physical violence is on screen in a non-threatening way, not physical violence, but in a non-threatening way, watching Diedrich Bader beat up little Aaron Rule was just, it was too much for me. And I couldn't get through with that scene without laughing. But luckily I was not the center of focus in those scenes. So the director and the producer, nobody was like, all right, let's redo. I just kept it to myself, but I was, you know, kind of laughing the whole time. Just like, it was just funny. So yeah, that was impossible. Not near impossible. It was impossible to keep a straight face.
There's a lot of scenes with Kip, you know, because if we think about it, can we say that Kip's a little sinister? I mean, he's the one who wants to go to Rex Kwon Do, right?
Uh-huh.
He's the one who says, well, come and hit me, Napoleon. And you're like, what? He asked for that. And then I got to say, which when John was talking about it, that, you know, about Kip's reaction when John had ordered the time machine. And when it cuts to Kip's face, and he's really digging it. He's really seeing what the possibilities of going back in time. Like, what?
No, but
dude?
also because he sees that John is being shocked, he's not turning the switch off. He's like, turn it off. And he's like, he's holding it for an extra
No.
few beats. Like he's like a little bit, he's a troublemaker. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I think my first scene that I saw when I arrived was the footsie scene under the table between Kip and LaFonda. And that's when I thought, that was literally the first thing I saw shot when I arrived, the day I got there. And it just totally set the tone for me. It was like, this is gonna be something good.
Especially once you see that nice big gold chain going on him.
When that came out and put it around, because I read the script at that point, but I didn't remember that detail. So I saw it as it was happening for the first time. And that was like, luckily we were shooting it without sound because Jared was so keen on everything that he was doing. So kind of ahead of the game, you know, for being a 22-year-old guy making his first movie, he knew exactly how he wanted to shoot. No, we don't need sound. I know how. I'm going to put music over this, you know. But I was able to laugh out loud because there was no sound. But it was pretty fun.
For your screening in Tarrytown this coming Friday, a week from now, what can people expect when they go to the music hall?
Good times. Good. I think what to expect is, like, you know, they'll see the movie again, but really just how sweet we are and how cool we are in person. No, I think
Did you say cruel? We're kind of
think a lot
cruel to some of the
Sweet and
oh
cruel.
yeah, no.
we
with
pick
a
on
love-
some of the people and they ask bad questions, but in a
with
very
loving,
friendly way.
with a loving hand,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
will, you know,
We guide.
try. Yeah. But no, I think what's great is, you know, for a lot of these kind of films, people just want to see kind of what you look like in real life, what you're like in real life. But I also think secretly what people don't realize they want sometimes is to see our mutual love of the film. If you see that people are out there and if our favorite movies and the actors or the filmmakers involved love it as much and appreciate it as much as we do, it's such a great feeling. And we do. We're there. We're like,
well said. Exactly.
you know what I mean? Like because you want, I mean, it's always heartbreaking when you hear about like an actor who's just like, it was just a paid gig. I don't care about this movie as much. It's, you know, it's heartbreaking. And I think to show us people, we are all in on this movie. We get it. We're with you. We were the original fans. We saw this movie. We lived this movie before anybody else, you know, experienced it. So I think, I hope they get that.
And, you know, people love the movie so much that I have to ask, is there any hope at all of a Napoleon Dynamite 2?
You sure you really want that?
I definitely do, more than you know.
You'll see. I mean, the audiences across the nation have been asking for it, and it's, you know, it's funny that when we go to the screening, there are a lot of people who have seen it on DVD, but they want to have the experience with a large amount of people at the theater, and to see and recognize that a lot of people dress up as Napoleon. They dress up as Uncle Rico. They bring footballs, they bring beach balls, they bring cakes, piñatas. Some theaters have a llama. Sometimes we have a musical guest performance, you know, before we go up. So it's always a great surprise, and everybody has such a great time. We're too busy laughing. That doesn't stop.
And this is one other thing I just want to get this in, because so many people who come to see this film have never seen it on the big screen. They've only seen it on television. It's a different experience seeing this movie with an audience on a big screen. It's quite a different experience.
Can we expect any impromptu dancing, steak throwing, or anything like that on Friday?
Probably no steak throwing.
Probably no steak throwing. Dancing is a weird thing. It's like if lightning strikes, maybe they're, who knows, you know. Dancing is a very sacred, solitary experience for me. So, you know, I shared it on celluloid for the world to see, and that was my gift, my one-time gift. That is hard to re-gift that. I don't know. We'll see.
You know,
Well,
even-
we might bring a grapefruit and have a little grapefruit throw.
Okay, I'll take that.
That could be fun. We've never done a grapefruit. We're always looking for
I
new
think we'll bring a fake one and we'll just like have that moment. You'll throw it and hit me.
But every once in a while, you see some of the teenagers who are actually dressed up as Napoleon. We'll put them up on stage, and they sort of have a dance battle, which is funny.
Oh my God. Gries, we should totally do that.
I'm
That
going
would
We
be
should
great.
totally go get some
we'll-
grapefruit, and we'll do a little contest or something and have someone come up and try to hit us or something. I love that.
Now I'm
I
gonna
think-
hold you guys to it. I'm gonna make sure that's included
should.
in the story. Everyone's going to hear that. So you guys have to
Yeah.
honor your word now.
Tell everybody to bring a grapefruit, and then we'll have all these people will be in line with grapefruits. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, the following day in the newspaper, it's like Tarrytown Theater ruined by grapefruit.
Yeah, we can't. The acid is killing through all this decades-old paint.
It smells in the carpet.
Well, at least
But-
grapefruit smells good, so not too bad.
Yeah.
Well, it does in the first few days.
Speaking of which, I think some of the theaters sell tater tots as well as quesadillas, as well as quesadillas. So it'd be an awesome
You
surprise.
actually say quesadillas?
I was like, they sell quesadillas and chimichangas. What?
Before I let you go, I just want to say to all of you, it has been an absolute pleasure to meet every single one of you. Like I said, I've probably watched Napoleon Dynamite 15 to 20 times. And
Nice.
every single
Wow.
time I laugh even more and more. And I just want to say, if it means anything, you all did an amazing, phenomenal job. And I could personally say I felt like the biggest dork in high school, and watching all of you execute your characters in the way that you did, I know touched me and made me want to embrace myself. So thank you guys so much for everything
Oh,
that you
thanks.
did.
That's
Thank
so nice.
you.